I'm about to tell you a 100% guaranteed formula on how to make more money in tech sales. I've spent the last 15 years of my life in this profession, and over that period of time, I received 8 promotions and 15 raises. And the reality is, you have complete control over your career. And if you're not following these 6 fundamental strategies, you're sabotaging your future. And the first thing you need to know is that it's not all fun and games. Or is it? The first thing you need to know is you have to play the game to win. This is the quickest shortcut to making more money. You ever hear the phrase, don't hate the player, hate the game? Well, let me tell you a story about when I was a player hater. So one of my colleagues, let's call her Emma, she seemed to get promoted every single year, and she kept getting the jobs that I wanted and was always one step ahead of me. And what's crazy about this is I was outperforming her. And most people, they didn't even like Emma. And it was mainly because she was always brown-nosing with the big wigs or talking to the managers. And I thought she was cringe, I'll be honest. And being a salesperson, I figured, shouldn't the numbers just speak for themselves? Well, that strategy, it didn't really work out very well for me. And I still got the raises, I still got the promotions, but Emma, she was always one step ahead. And I remember very vividly the day that Emma got promoted to sales manager, a job I had been wanting for years. I had to look in the mirror. And that's when it dawned on me. I hate schmoozing. It's hard, it's awkward, and it made me cringe. And it's my personal hell. I avoided it like the plague. And it's not because I didn't think it was beneficial to my career. I just didn't want to do it. In fact, I knew it was the quickest shortcut to promoting myself, yet there I was, not doing it, acting like Emma is taking the easy path, but reality is, she was taking the hard path. She was doing what I wasn't willing to do, and that's what separated her from me. And from that day on, I stopped looking at this as brown-nosing. I stopped looking at it as schmoozing, and I started looking at this as a skill. So how do you execute this skill? Well, you need to understand strategic positioning. In tech sales, the rules, they're not always clear, but success, it favors those who can navigate the system the best. And this means understanding the unspoken rules of your organization. Recognize who the key players are, and then position yourself in a way that you're indispensable to them. There's a lot more to this game than just doing your job. It's about being seen as an integral part of your team's success in multiple ways. And networking, it plays a critical role in this. And you've probably heard the saying, it's not what you know, but about who you know. And in sales, this couldn't be more true, because building strong relationships with the right people, it can open doors that you didn't even know existed. So let me tell you a story about when this came into fruition for me. I remember after about a decade in sales, I was at a junction in my career. I was trying to figure out, what do I want to do next? I reached out to a few people in my network to get career advice, and I ended up speaking with the manager of solutions consulting. And I'd always been a little bit more technical, but I had never really considered this role. And after a 20-minute conversation, I decided to completely shift my career. I've actually been in solutions consulting ever since. And what's crazy is, I didn't even need to interview for the role. And it's because I had such a good brand with the hiring manager. And it all started with a genuine relationship. The reality is, I was strategically positioned for this role way before my 20-minute conversation. It all happened through my network, building those relationships with countless people who were willing to vouch for me when it mattered the most. And this is what Emma did so well. But she was even more strategic, because she wasn't just building any old network. She understood who held the power, and she made sure that they knew exactly who Emma was. So how do you do this? Well, contrary to popular belief, this doesn't mean you have to be a suck up or you have to be insincere. It's about being strategic. So there's 2 questions you should ask yourself. One, are the people who make promotion decisions aware of your accomplishments? And then 2, are you seeking out opportunities to work on high visibility projects? And if you answered no to either of those questions, you're doing it all wrong. Because one of the most effective ways to play the game is by taking initiative. Don't wait for opportunities to just come to you. No, you actually gotta create opportunities. Don't go starting a bunch of projects all willy-nilly. No, that's not the answer. Because the secret is you gotta be very intentional with the projects that you pick. You gotta make sure you understand senior leadership and what they care about. What are their KPIs? What are their top 3 priorities? What's keeping them up at night? When you execute on a project that has the right level of visibility and you execute it on a high level, trust me, people are going to be talking about you behind closed doors in a good way. And if you do this right, there will come a point where not giving you a raise will just be a bad business decision. And if you've proven that you're a leader and you take on initiative and you're making an impact, then it's just downright foolishness to not give you a raise or promotion, because they might lose you to another company and you're gonna go bring the same value over there. And if you really are providing this level of value and you're not making what you think you're worth, then I got some advice for you. Go get what you're worth. Because there is somebody out there who is looking for people just like you, and they're willing to pay a lot of money for it. But let's not go there just yet. Let's not jump the gun, because if you're not doing this next tip, then you're really shooting yourself in the foot. Because playing the game, it's important, but it's not enough on its own. In fact, you have to actually look the part. Imagine this. What if I was wearing some old wrinkly shirt with some print on it? You probably wouldn't be watching my YouTube video right now listening to my sales advice. And I remember one of the best pieces of career feedback I had ever got. It was in college, and it was, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, well, then it must be a duck. And it's not good enough to just do good work. You also have to look the part and act the part. And the way that you present yourself, your appearance, your communication, your demeanor, it all contributes to how others perceive you and your capabilities. And as we all know, perception is reality. And if you want to be seen as a top performer, you need to ensure that your appearance and your behavior align with that image. And this doesn't mean you gotta wear a stuffy suit and tie every day, but be aware of how your appearance reflects your professionalism. Are you dressing in a way that shows you're serious about a role? Or are you wearing some old wrinkly shirt that smells like dirty laundry? So one piece of advice I have for you is look at people who have the job that you want and see how they dress, see how they carry themselves, see how they talk. And you're probably gonna start noticing that there's a lot of button-ups and a lot of blazers. So if you see that, wouldn't it make sense to wear a button-up and a blazer? Well, Brian, I don't wanna dress up for work every day. I just wanna be myself. Okay, well then go ahead, be yourself. Wear a Def Leppard shirt and wear some shorts and sandals. Let's see how that works. You better hope you never miss your quota, because if you do, everyone's gonna just validate all their assumptions they had about you. They're gonna assume you never cared about your job because you can't even put on the proper attire. You need to start thinking about yourself as a brand. And just like any other successful brand out there, consistency is key. Your appearance, your actions, and your communication should all consistently reflect the level of professionalism and competence that you want others to associate with you. And it goes way beyond just physical appearance. It's actually about how you interact with others, about how you handle challenges, and how you present your ideas. And also, first impressions matter. And in sales, it could set the tone for your entire career. And that's why studies have shown that people form their opinions about you within the first few seconds. And if you don't make a good first impression, you're gonna be battling an uphill climb throughout your entire career. So you have to look the part, and you have to be consistent, because what consistency does is it builds trust. And this trust, it translates into more opportunities, and people are gonna be more likely to recommend you for promotions, projects, and advancing opportunities. And I remember back when I was an SDR, one of my best friends, I just got promoted and he was like, man, what secrets do you have? And all I said was, dude, all you gotta do is show up 5 minutes before everybody, stay 5 minutes later, and wear a blazer. That's all you gotta do, and I guarantee you're gonna get promoted. Fast forward 6 months, guess what? He got promoted. So it's that easy. You play the game, you look the part, and you're halfway there. But there is one thing that wrecks careers, and that's gonna get into our next tip, and that is time management. Your time, it's your most valuable asset. And to achieve maximum results, you need to focus on the activities that bring you the highest value. And so this means being very selective with your time and prioritizing tasks that align to your goals. And there's a huge difference between just being busy and being productive. We've all had days where we've been incredibly busy, but we didn't actually accomplish much. And it's often because we're spending so much time on low impact tasks that just don't move the needle. And the reality is, all tasks, they're not created equal. And if you want to succeed, you gotta be an expert at prioritizing your time. Prioritization, it's about more than just managing your time. It's about managing your focus. So stop wasting your time on things that don't matter. And this means saying no to tasks that just don't contribute to your goals. And even if they seem urgent, are they important? But Brian, I'm really good at multitasking. Well, I used to be really good at multitasking too, but I used to also make a lot less money. And for years, multitasking, it was seen as a valuable skill. But research has shown time and time again that it actually reduces productivity. And the reason for this is when you try to switch from one task to the next, those little gaps in time between, they actually impact your effectiveness, and the time to switch actually adds more time to getting things done. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you need to clean the house. You gotta vacuum, you gotta do the dishes, you gotta take out the trash. Well, you wouldn't just wash one dish, then switch to vacuuming for a few seconds, and then go take out one piece of trash. Because if you did it that way, you'd probably have to do it 100 times. No, instead, what you would do is you would do one task at a time. You would wash the dishes, you would do the trash, and then you would vacuum. So stop trying to think that you could do all these things at once. You only got 2 arms and 1 brain. So start taking your task on one at a time. And time management, it is one of the most important skills that you're ever gonna learn. And in fact, we got all kinds of tips on time management, but we'll save that for another day. But my best advice to you is think about your time as currency and invest it where you'll get the highest return. And don't just put your time or your money into a bunch of penny stocks, because the name of the game is to get raises and promotions. So put your time into the blue chip projects. And if it's not leading to a raise or a promotion, then you gotta question, why are you spending time on this bad investment? So let's do a quick recap. You've learned you gotta play the game, you gotta look and act the part, and you gotta be good with your time. Seems like 100% guaranteed formula, right? Wrong, because there's one last critical step that almost everybody misses, and it could completely ruin everything. And that is, you gotta set expectations. Tell your manager exactly what you're thinking. Make sure they're aware of your goals, your aspirations, and your expectations. Because without knowing your goals, they might just assume you're perfectly happy where you're at. And this is why so many people just drive through their careers without any direction. And by setting expectations, you're not only clarifying your goals for leadership, you're clarifying your goals for yourself. Setting clear expectations up front, it's the foundation of successful relationships, both personal and professional. And it ensures that everybody is on the same page and working towards the same objectives. In fact, one of the biggest reasons for career dissatisfaction, it's unclear expectations. And when expectations aren't clearly defined, it's easy to feel lost and unsure about your progress. And oftentimes it leads to frustration and lack of motivation. By setting clear expectations, you're creating a roadmap for your career, and it gives you a sense of direction and purpose. And this is why communicating your expectations to your leadership, it's essential. And don't get it all twisted. This isn't a one-way conversation where you're just telling your manager what you want. No, this is an open dialogue where both parties, you discuss your goals, your challenges, and what the opportunities are. And what this does is it helps build a strong relationship and connection. It ensures that your leadership, they're aware of your aspirations. And you can't just do this one time, by the way. It's an ongoing process. And as your career progresses, time goes on, your goals and expectations are likely to change. And it's important to regularly review and update your expectations. And I personally recommend you do it once a year. Take a step back, reflect on your current situation, and decide what you want out of your future. And then once you've done all that with yourself, then make sure you're aligned with your leadership. And you're pretty much guaranteed at this point to get a promotion or a raise. But there is one thing that is completely out of your control, and that is the last thing that you guys need to know, which is opportunity and timing are everything. And this is why you always gotta be ready, because opportunities in tech sales, they could appear out of nowhere, especially at a fast-growing company. It might be in 2 years, it might be in 2 days. So the question is, are you ready for it? One of the hard lessons I've had to learn is that the best opportunities, they often come when you're not expecting them. And if you're not ready, you could completely miss out on that opportunity, and it might not happen again for a few years. So let me share a story with you. I remember when I wanted to get into leadership. I'd been working towards it for years as both an AE and an SC. But unfortunately, opportunity and timing, they just weren't on my side. But during that entire time, I was consistent. I communicated to leadership that I wanted to be a leader. And I took on the high priority projects, I dressed the part, I did everything we talked about in this video. Then all of a sudden, an SE manager role popped up. And it just showed up like a wild caterpie, right? And guess who was the top candidate for the role? This guy. In fact, I did so much work to position myself that I legit thought that they'd be stupid not to hire me. However, imagine if I put my guard down. Imagine that I got defeated after a few years of trying to get into leadership to no avail. What would have happened in that moment? Well, I probably wouldn't have been the obvious choice. And someone like Emma, they would have came in, swooped the opportunity right from underneath my feet, and I would have been all sour about it. So it doesn't matter if the job or the opportunity exists today. Act as if the job is already in your hands. And don't stop learning, don't get comfortable, because continuous learning and skill development is what's gonna be required in this crazy evolving tech industry that we live in, and that's what's gonna separate you from all the other candidates. In fact, once you get really good at your craft, you might not even need to wait for opportunities. You can actually create opportunities. And so this is what happened to me back when I was an SDR, is I was helping my peers create dashboards, lead reports. I was coaching them on their sales calls. And then a new leader came in and he saw all this stuff I was doing, and he actually created a team lead role just for me, the first one ever in our company. And that was my first exposure into leadership, and it completely changed the trajectory of my career. So stop waiting for the role, start acting as if you already have it. Then when the opportunity and timing comes, you're gonna be the no-brainer choice to get that promotion or get that raise. And that right there is the 100% guaranteed method to get promotions and raises. And if you're serious about getting paid what you're worth, now is the time to act. Apply these strategies today and watch your career and your income grow. And if you want to dive deeper into this, check out this video about getting full control over your career by leveraging some secret tips from Robert Greene himself. And if you found this video valuable and you want to keep getting tips and secrets on how to smash your quota, make more money, and get promoted, then click that like button, subscribe for more, and don't forget to share it with your friends. We'll see you in the next video.